Welcome back to another fantastic episode of Our Corner. I'm your host with the most cringe, Aaron. And with me today is the main man himself, the one, the only Gintech.
With less cringe.
His name is Tyler.
Would you like to give out my social security number?
Actually, I was just about to ask that along with your mother's maiden name and the street you grew up on.
Don't answer that. And I thought the main man himself was me.
Can't you see he's at my right hand?
I guess the problem is you actually know most of that information.
That's true. We have like this.
I know.
Together.
I've opened 3 credit cards
to
with your
slay
name.
You.
Slay Queen. So, just to kind of roll into it, today's story comes from Reddit user Son of Grim. This is a absolute masterpiece of cringe. I would say if you're looking through the annals of Reddit, this story should hit.
Yeah, don't do that.
At least give her a call back after you're done reading.
No, don't call her back. No.
If you've reached out and you saw this story, I mean, this is just the masterpiece. This is like candles on a cake.
From what I've seen, it's really not a story. It's more of a amalgamation of someone's crazy ass thoughts.
And also your similes are out of this world. I love it. Like candles on a cake.
That's going right there into the spank bank, I imagine.
You what?
Well, I don't want to be on this episode anymore.
Oh, yes, you do. You come here. You ain't going nowhere.
How many blinks do I need for SOS?
Whoop. A lot.
Just like a Tootsie Pop, the world may never know. Whoop. Now, today's story is titled The Terrible, Terrible Story.
Original.
I know, right? Very original.
Or as he puts it, one I will simply call the worst D&D game. Let's roll into it. Now, this is the worst D&D game I have ever played, and anyone will ever play. Now, this is probably a bold claim. I bet a lot of you have been in what you will describe as the worst D&D games ever. But lo, I have found it. I have found the absolutely worst DM and player in the worst D&D campaign on the face of this planet. Let us begin. Redundancy. Okay, so first, his setting is incredibly uninspired. Morality is very black and white, good versus evil. A big demonic dragon is infecting the world with evil trees so it can consume and corrupt the world. There is literally an empire of Darkonia and Dunska in the evil swamps and deserts naturally. Every empire seems to be based on a Magic the Gathering elemental type. Hatalathea, Darkonia, Duneska, Umbrasilica, and the Divine Lands, and so on. Next, we go to talk to a bunch of sphinxes who reveal inner truths about ourselves, and we are the chosen heroes of temperance, purity, forgiveness, knowledge, and piety. Me. Okay, he's young. This is his first time DMing, and this is a dumpster fire. I can dig it. But Lord, it got worse. The gods are named Weatherqueese, Hydamore, Judgris, Grimlix, Solandris, Clocaw, Helcris, Grudvac, Glishatar, Bahamut, and Tiamat.
Hang on. Pause real quick. Did he say Laud and Laquisha as one of the gods?
Weatherqueese. Literally spelled Weatheques. There's no U. There's no quest.
Wedqueast?
Queese.
Dude, I need an entire Wikipedia just for this story.
It's like
His mom is Wedqueast.
I don't know. He probably did a lot of misspelling on this.
Probably.
OP goes on to say, can you guess what they do from their names? Me. Okay, it's a little shallow, but he's a new DM. Me, I shouldn't discourage him. But then it got worse. Our cleric has amnesia and was once a lawful evil tool of the good empire to basically stealthily kill their enemies. And this was an established backstory. One character knew it, and most of us knew the original owner of the character. Upon regaining her memories, the DM had retconned all that so that she was a good and pious nun, basically all her life who yearned for adventure and had basically done nothing wrong despite the fact that her whole character revolved around being an Azamar. doing terrible things for the greater good. But the DM decided that no, Azamar are not allowed to be evil.
Hold on. Azamar or ASMR?
It's probably Azamar, but it's
Isn't
like
that-
you say, Aaron.
Get it out of your head.
Isn't
You guys gotta
ASMR
stop.
that like mukbang shit where you eat
Yes.
and it makes like all those
Yes.
weird noises?
Yes. You guys gotta stop.
That shit sounds like a water park, bro.
They're one of those character races too that is like it's meant with a lot of clerics and paladins. So it's like it's very stuck in its way.
Is this Wet Queef the one that you're talking about?
No. This is me speaking.
Okay.
OC begins again by saying, meanwhile, there is my character, a black dragonborn who has led a small peasant revolt.
Racist.
Here's the list of things he retroactively revised into my backstory. I was the leader of a massive revolution that was put down by a tyrannical black dragon.
Racist.
I was previously a copper dragon egg. Then I was a copper wormling that was helping the cleric escape the evil empire after being captured. I had my adoptive mother, real dragon father, and tiefling fiancé all killed in front of me at some point. I did not ask for any of this and was actively against it. I am not a black dragonborn, but a copper
Racist.
dragonborn. My patron is not a malevolent spirit in a sword, but the Judge Gris, the god of justice who demands I bring peace and harmony to all of Darkonia. Me. Okay, this is getting a little out of hand. Can we sit down and talk? But then the final nail in the motherfucking coffin. One of the players has been drawing porn of his character and one of the NPCs he's sweet on, but also all the other characters.
Why is this in every story?
Did he say sweet on? What is he, 95?
It gets more and more. Hang on.
Who are you? Is that your boo thing? Like, is that your squeeze?
Hang on to your fancy coattails and hats because it gets into it. When confronted about this by myself and the 4 female players who were very mad that their OCs were being used in a sexual manner without their permission or consent, the artist merely responded, "Calm down, they're just OCs." So we bring it to the DM, and he assures us that, oh, don't worry, none of that will go into the book I'm writing without your permission.
Hang on. Pause real quick.
That was a lot.
Isn't that a double standard? Hang on. Woke with me here, all right? Woke with me here. They can't use it without consent, but you can't censor art.
We don't have to get there. You put porn and sweet on in the same thing, like you would like cancel it out.
Yeah, you made it so they weren't butt fucking in the corner. Like, you were sweet
You
on.
make it better. That makes it worse.
You literally pounded.
Learn to write.
You literally panned to the side of the window while hearing what was going on.
Yes.
Her describing it in vivid detail.
Yeah.
Stop stretching me out. You panned over to the side. You're like, we know what's happening, dude. We saw it.
And the audio is still going.
Yeah.
This
It
is
never
it.
stopped.
It's a whole water park slab fest up in there, and
Yeah.
and you just panned to the side like we didn't
Yeah.
know what the fuck happened.
Yeah, there's like safe words and stuff, but
Bro.
it's just at the window, so it's okay.
You just hear a random chainsaw. You're like, wait, what's happening now? Hang on, go back,
I've seen less liquid at a public water slide, but whatever.
dude, for real. Like, but you panned to the curtains
I'm
like
sorry.
we didn't know that.
I don't. It's like you're trying to PG up the story, but it's just that doesn't help. That you're not.
It's doing more damage
I
than
get
good.
it. I thank you for the story. That's great. Learn to write.
Yeah.
It's
Also-
like you said it. It's like you said wiggled her tuchus, and you're just looking at like a big ass with a thong. It's like, yeah, dude, we know what that is. Saying tuchus doesn't make it better.
I'll even go the PG route so you can understand. It's like saying frick. We all know what you said. We all know what you meant.
We get it. Which you didn't even say, Frick.
But you just half-assed.
It's like you overdubbed frick, and then your lips said fuck. It's like, we know it.
Yes.
Just wait. To cut to the next section here of OP's story. So we bring it to the DM, and he assures us that, oh, don't worry, none of this will go into the book I'm writing without your permission. So naturally, we all ask, wait, what book? And he tells us that he plans on making this whole thing into a published book when it's all said and done. The player who's been drawing pornography of our fucking characters is his editor. The campaign was full of some awful bullshit, but that can mostly be chalked up to, oh, he's just a new DM. But the truly awful stuff has been left in this recounting of the absolute worst campaign in the history of D&D.
Okay, one second here. Hang on. It can be excused with new DM. Hey, he just sexually assaulted you. That's cool. He's a new DM, dude. It's fine. Not a big deal.
That's not the part
Boys
he's
will be
excusing.
boys.
But
That's what it was. That's what he just said.
The none of this is gonna go into the book without your consent. It's like, hey, I've been recording you for the past three days for the OnlyFans. That's at $3.99 right now. Don't worry, I'm not gonna show anything that you're not gonna be like cool with. But there's an OnlyFans there. Just thought you'd know.
He literally just did the stop screaming. I know
Yeah.
he literally just did
the
that.
DM literally was like, just stop screaming.
Literally, it was the
It'll make
equivalent-
it better.
It was the equivalent to 35 no's and one hesitant yes was still a yes. It's like, no.
If you're good, and he blindsided them with a book on top of that. He's like, it's not going into a book. Why would you drop that?
You were gonna say he blindsided him with a dick. I was like, whoa, wait, we didn't get that far.
I think the guy who wrote this is the one writing the book.
Yeah.
I want to read that book.
So this is one of those
I like
characters
craziness.
who is like, I'm an experienced character, so I know what good D&D looks like. Like, just throughout the story itself, this is clearly bad D&D.
How about you stop worrying about D&D? You start worrying about like English.
Yeah. It's just so fucking like, first of all, OP is immediately critical. He's like, oh, it's black and white morality.
I can't even
But then
read it.
it's like, but porn is where I draw the line with black and white morality.
I don't
It's
even
like,
have to get there, Aaron. I'm looking at the screen that you have it on right now, dude. It's like a giant paragraph, then sentence, paragraph, sentence. It's like
it does look like he's trying to write a fucking page in a book.
Real quick,
Like,
I just
he
want
was
you to
turning
like
this in for
eyeball it.
creative writing.
How many periods are in there? I'm guessing at least 5, minimum below 5.
no. I'll take you up on that bet. I'm betting 3. There's
3. You want to go into 4 on this one,
Alright.
Aaron?
No,
4?
I'm going to take the
All right,
high end. I'm going to say 7.
7.
7.
That's
All right,
bold.
I'm going
what
to say
about
7.
commas? How many-
Oh, less than 2. For sure, less than 2.
Yeah, there's no commas.
There's no apostrophes. Get out of here.
Get the fuck-
Semicolons.
No,
you've never heard of
there's
He's never-
apostrophes.
Huh?
There's apostrophes. There's apostrophes. There's colons.
Other than contraction words, where's there an apostrophe?
Nope. That's
Wait,
you got a
these are
good point.
Contraction words.
Is there contraction words?
Nope, no contraction words.
How many nouns?
Did he spell your
think-
you are?
First of all, I'm not a language arts teacher. All right, I
English
wanted
teacher?
to do something special with my life.
English
I'm just
teacher?
asking because it seems like besides the names of the gods and like the names of what was it like the
Some
whatever the
players.
hell it was,
Yeah.
it seems like he put in 0 nouns and it's all verbs.
Well, yeah, think about it. He didn't know how to spell anything but the things he created. Like,
There's a few.
That
So
actually, this is the guy.
this is the guy, and this is the issue. Just kind of sticking to what I've read. This guy right here has done what every person who writes a Reddit post has done, where he's like, he excuses anything wrong that he's done by not putting it in. So we have no clue what he's actually done. The only thing that I can sit here and say is like, you know what? The ending paragraph is where I'm like, yeah, the dude was a terrible DM. And the dude, you know, the person that is editing his book is also a terrible player.
I think you need to revise your statement, Aaron. He's a terrible author.
because look,
DM. He's an author.
because look,
He's not DMing.
I'm telling you right now, like, I understand it's bad to draw people. Like, I understand it's bad to draw people naked. I understand it's bad to draw people naked and put them in a book without consent. I understand that it's bad to make said book without having really any language skills as a basis. Whatever. The thing that I'm concerned with is exactly what you said. What did they do? Because if you're like, hey, don't draw me, but you're over here like, draw me like one of your French girls, Jack.
Yeah.
Then it's like, then you're asking to be drawn.
Well,
it just-
okay, and no one's and this is the big thing that I say too is like you sat there at the beginning of the story like his world's so black and white, the morality just is so good and evil, and then someone's like porn, and you're like that's fucking gross. It's like, what did you think was going to happen when morality turned gray?
Although he did say Lord, so
Yeah, like I think this is one of those people who like just was like, you know what, this game wasn't for me, but I'm gonna bitch about it to my friends online.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think this is they are virtue signaling the porn thing because they probably partook in it, and they just don't want you to know that part.
Possibly. I mean, all right.
Because think about it, that's the only part that they've actually really stuck to. Besides, oh, the game is not good, and then they hyper focused on this one thing, and it's like, I think you did.
Now the one thing is absolutely horrible. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
Like the fucking if you're taking other people's characters, you're drawing porn, you're basically fantasizing about them.
Yeah.
And that's also fucked up.
And do yourself a favor. If you have a friend in this group and instead of drawing porn, just give it to him. Like if he's right there. You know what I mean? Like help a nerd out.
Look, if you're having trouble getting
When I'm on the podcast, the thoughts of Sean do not.
They 100% reflect the podcast and all the programming. Have a good one on that one.
it is so I mean, is the story cringe? Absolutely. Like I can't imagine like going through a D&D game and then like showing Sean be like, "Hey, look, I drew Tyler's character butt ass naked fucking the shit out of you." Like it's like, bro.
We didn't say no.
Yeah.
Why did you draw my penis by my knee? That's like anatomically incorrect.
Why is it so veiny?
Yeah, that has more veins than my arm. Why would you do that?
Jesus Christ.
Make it like I literally look like Danny DeVito with like a fucking horn. Like, why would you do that to me? Like,
this shit doesn't look like it can slide down my pants.
yeah, bro. No wonder he slouches.
Can you make this anatomically correct, my guy?
Yeah, like fuck. Anyway, keep going.
So it's for me, it's that he's sitting there, he's talking shit about him being a new DM. He's like, "Oh, he's a new DM. Like all of this shit is bad. I played better games." It's like it's almost like saying like I'm so much better than this that
And
it's like, but you know that they're a new DM going into it.
why didn't you help them? At no point did you help them. At no point.
I'm with you guys. Why didn't you extend the hand? If you saw that the story maybe wasn't the best, be like, "Hey, side sesh over here. What are we doing?"
Hey, I like the idea that you're going off of Magic the Gathering, the world you have kind of like an established and you're making it your own.
Yeah.
But like, maybe try introducing X, Y, and Z in this aspect. It might really help you. I've seen other people do it.
And while you guys gentle parent, I'll be the friend that goes, "Hey, look, I understand you want to make a story. It blows. Be better."
Yeah.
But it's also fine. He's new. Apparently he's not very focused on the game itself. He's more focused on the book part, which also you would have to talk to him about eventually. You can't just let all this happen. And it seems like you did. Like, so again, I know I was joking. I genuinely think you are the one who wrote the book and you're the DM. I don't believe that you were a player.
And you know what? You know what I don't get? There's been a lot of these stories and a lot of these ads where they do that and they end up going like super like fucking sexual with it. It's like, if you're gonna do that in the game, how come you're not upfront with it? How come you don't put it in the ad? "Hey, bro, massive sex." Like
This
like
is 18 plus
And-
game.
yeah, 18 plus game, or hey, there's going to be a lot of influences and allurement to sex in this. It's a very sexually based game.
To be
Why
fair,
don't you?
nobody knows if that person actually did it.
Right, because we only have one version of the story.
All we're doing is we're hearing from OP who's saying like, "Yeah, I'm a player who has so much experience that I can tell," and it's like, he's a newbie. It's going to be garbage. Okay.
But here's the
it's
thing
like
also.
he went in being like, "Oh, this is garbage because of the setting." It's like,
Right. And we
that
don't know if that guy
mentality-
was like straight up front with them. It's like, "Hey, bro, this is a very like explicit game, 18 plus. Like, there's gonna be a lot of sexual stuff involved." And he's like, "Yeah, whatever." And then all of a sudden, he's like, "Oh, that's fucked up." It's like,
Yeah, it
well,
seems
no,
like
you
he-
went in there.
And these are
he
some
didn't
of the
ask at
most
all.
like
Right.
these are some of the more like finer details, but like he mentions one character class out of this whole thing. He mentions the cleric, and then everything else is but my dragonborn. It's like you have nothing else that goes over this. You know what I mean? Like we know you're a dragonborn. What's your class? We know that person's a cleric. What's their class or what's their race?
How
And
long did you play the game for?
how many players were involved? Because I count 3 just by like the
Was
talk
it-
here.
I thought it said like 4 other girls.
Yeah, there were 4 other female players besides him. So first of all, bullshit. That's not real.
So there's four girls,
Well, hang on.
one other guy, and then the DM and him. Okay.
Well, hang on. Let's finish the story. Finish the story.
Oh
real
no,
quick so we
the
can-
story's finished.
What?
Yeah.
He didn't do
That's it.
anything else.
It's just done.
He just was like,
no-
"That's the worst game. That was the absolute worst campaign in the history of D&D." It didn't say whether or not he went and finished it. He probably did.
But there was no details really of the game at all, except for just
That's-
the porn.
And that's what we're saying is that he hyper focused. He talked some shit, left everything super vague, and then was like, but didn't talk about anything that he did.
Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. For a good story, I'll get molested. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with you
think I
letting
know
you
what
go to
happens.
second base. That's fine.
yeah,
I think I know what this story is.
What?
He was enjoying it, the porn shit too with the other guy, and the girls found out. That's what this is. This is him trying to.
and then he acted outraged.
Or the
Like-
book thing didn't go his way. Like his
Yeah.
character stopped having sex with a specific female character of the game.
Yeah, like
whatever.
they didn't
Yeah.
need him anymore.
Yeah.
And now it's a big consent thing. It's like, okay, first of all,
Because there's got to be there's
First
in
of
a
all,
community
with-
this big. There's got to be people who do like 18 plus games. There's got to be tons of them.
There's
there
tons
is.
of them, yes.
This is a huge thing. Now, consent is a big deal between characters. That's
Yeah.
a real thing. Is like, hey, we don't want to be pushed towards this. We want to play how we want to play, and we want to do the stuff that we want to do. The other part of that is hey, man, like if you're gonna write a book, write the book. Don't play the game.
Yeah, pick one. Pick one or the other. Pick one you're focused on.
If you're writing a module, you write the module first and play test it. You don't write the module as you're play testing.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that makes you have to go back and go, well, I do have to retcon this, or well, I do have to do this, or it's no, you play test it, see how it works. If it doesn't work, you fix the play testing.
See, that's a person. That's a person who took themselves entirely too seriously. Entirely too seriously.
But not serious
actually
enough to
disagree with
exclude
you.
pornography.
I don't think they took themselves seriously at all, and they got caught. I'm on the opposite. I think this is all just like them trying to like stay friends with the girls, so they
Yeah.
wrote this thing because they don't want to get in
And
trouble.
him being
I
like,
don't
"How
think-
dare you?"
Yeah. I think they found out.
That makes sense, kind
I
of.
disagree, but I get where you're coming from, but I don't think it's that deep. I think this is just oh crap.
Unlike their players, it's not that deep.
Shit.
And did they in the story they didn't explain anything about the game besides the cleric and then the dragonborn thing. So it was very specific problem they had at first, and then the problems they had with their character, and explains nothing else. It's not the worst game. That's nothing.
It explains nothing of the writing of the game. It explains nothing of the rules
Yeah.
or any of the
It
characters
just-
or any of
maybe
the.
the-
there's
It's
no
fine.
there's no real like so up until the pornography there's no real explanation on what he did besides the fact of like trying to retcon the backstory for the book, which again is a mistake.
Yeah.
That is a full on like, hey, you fucked up, you need to own up to it mistake.
Was there any
The
comments
other-
on this post? Or I'm kind of curious if you saw. any.
There's tons of comments on the post. Hang on, I can pull it up here, and it'll take me just a second. But it's like my whole point is this: is that he has only two examples. He really does, like cleric and dragonborn, and that's my thing. Is that like you focused on her backstory, so that way you can be like, he did it with me as well. But
That doesn't mean he did a bad job. That means he did
that
bad
means that
outside the game.
Yeah, I'm totally with Tyler now. I'm kind of on his side now. I think that they got caught and they did this. It doesn't make
You ever notice
sense.
how he didn't?
Yeah.
Again, that's what I'm catching on. He didn't
Yeah.
say anything about the game. He said about the other.
You skipped the middle part of the story, my
Yeah,
guy.
you
Like,
didn't talk
you didn't
about
talk about the bad part of the game. You just talked about the pornography, which again, yeah, it's great. I mean, not great, but it's like it's great that you're focused on that and you think that it's appalling and all that stuff because most of that is. But if you're doing it to do that whole virtue signaling thing, that's bullshit. Like,
That's not. But it has nothing to do. Does that really have anything to do with the game? I don't think it does.
I think it was its own separate thing. Which,
Yeah.
if
that's a different problem.
which also, even if it's for your own. Well, I mean, I guess he's trying to make it public. But if it was for your own thing, what does it matter?
But there's nothing else too, because the guy even says, "Don't worry, I'm not putting it in the book." So it's like I get it. There's multiple like issues. You can argue back and forth one way or the other. Honestly, I think if you don't have consent to use their players that way, don't do that.
Yeah,
Like flat out. And this isn't me virtual signaling. This is virtue signaling.
You didn't even say that word correctly.
I didn't even
bro.
say that fucking word
Nope,
correctly.
not at all.
That's how
My
much he's
speaking,
not doing it.
my speaking was exactly like his fucking writing right now.
real.
It was
No,
bad.
there was most of a sentence.
No,
of
you shouldn't. Like you said, you shouldn't use their characters as part of like the whole consent thing. But at the same time, it's like if you're gonna legitimately complain that it's the worst, have a reason. Have a legitimate like.
Yeah,
Hey,
that was-
this
Yeah.
is why it's the worst.
Because this is something where it's like, hey, we need to address this outside of the game itself. This is a behavioral issue.
Yeah, they did not explain the bad DM part. I'm not seeing
This-
I'm not seeing a bad DM besides those two examples, and genuinely,
They-
those two examples could have been completed if you would just talk to him. It seems like you did nothing. And
Yeah.
they got mad.
You got mad. You brought it up to the DM, and then the DM was like, "Yeah, but I'm not using that. I'm writing a book, so none of that will be included." And he's like, "Okay." And then like the DM himself is just like very nonchalant about this issue, so he probably knew that it was going on. Because I mean, like the guy is his editor for the book. So, like, this aspect of the game, this DM was, like, way in the fucking red on this. Now, some of these comments, this is the part that gets me, is because someone dropped their own cringe story on top of this. And it says, "You think drawn porn about your characters are bad? Well, I will raise that a bit. And I might actually make that next cringe story, because there is, like, 6 or 7 fucking paragraphs. All of which don't look like they have grammar, but that's Reddit.
Literally read it.
Guys, read a book.
That's crazy.
Someone posted down, and this is my favorite so far. Okay, so cut your losses and move on.
Yeah.
If you haven't,
Yeah,
you have.
that is the summation of this entire story.
Like, there's people.
You kept going.
Yeah, like there's people that are like, "Oh, this bothers me," and what did you do to prevent it? Nothing.
And it doesn't seem like you guys you knew them. You didn't really specify if they were like really good friends.
Yeah, or anything.
Oh,
It
and
seems like-
this is the best, right? So it says most infamous horror story ? It's like, so this is the worst horror story you've ever been a part of. There's worse out there.
This isn't a story. It's, and by the way, shout out to Walking the Weird. I'm used to this all the time. This is a chunk of a story. This is not the story.
Except the person's not missing. We just wish they were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is not like I don't go on Reddit a lot anymore. This is
You
kinda
really
why.
shouldn't.
Yeah.
Like, because I'm tired of like reading, I go there to hear different opinions on things, and that's what I get. I get a chunk of a story that doesn't make sense, and then I'm supposed to have, and then if you comment, they're like, "Oh, what the hell?" And it's like, no, you didn't describe the story. You didn't do anything.
All
This
you
is
did
your
was
fault.
tell me a batch of shit, and it's like,
And they're just doing it just to be on the train. Because if you really go back, you're like, okay, explain it to me. Well, I mean, if you didn't pay attention,
Okay.
no, it's because you can't explain it to me.
Yeah, no,
'Cause you
because
didn't
nothing
think
so
about it either.
here's the real thing, and this is what I want to say, right? Porn aside, just throw the porn thing right aside, okay? What happened in your story, besides the fact that he retconned your backgrounds, right? So you guys are mad about that. That's understandable. That happens. It's like, hey, no, I wrote this character because I like the way that the story sounds and the way I want to play. Now, your DM is supposed to cooperate with you in order to make sure that your character story gets into the actual game. But the problem is that if your backstory doesn't fit the campaign setting, then that doesn't fucking matter. You have to make sacrifices yourself. Now, if this is the part that gets me, because it doesn't mention session 0. So it doesn't mention what the DM told him to or not to do or whatever.
Or the
This
rules
is-
behind it or anything.
But it seems like he knows what the setting is because he was able to talk about the gods, how the setting works, the cities.
I have something with that, Aaron.
What?
And I was just thinking about that. You're Sean. You're not Aaron.
Either way.
Can you fucking tell the difference anymore, man?
Yes.
Semi-insulting. I'll let it go through.
I'll allow it.
I think this guy is the DM. Do you want to know why?
Okay.
Why?
He literally listed off all of the gods and all of whatever the towns are or whatever, and all the nations, everything. If you're just a player, how you were very specific about those things. Because you put them in your fucking book and you want people to like them.
Okay, wait, hang on. That not completely correct because wet queef, I can remember that like out of anywhere.
Yeah.
Name another one.
No, I didn't. Nothing.
That's what I'm saying.
Nothing caught my attention than wet queef. I was like, "What the fuck is going on over there?"
And,
But is that even the name, or did I totally miss it?
You know what? It's spelled with queese, but here's what I'm thinking: the Q and the R are there, so it might be weatherus. They might have been trying to spell weatherus and spelled weatherqueese.
I was like, "That's completely off."
Because everything else,
Lazarus's brother.
nothing, because that's the only letter that doesn't make sense out of this whole thing, right? So, Glishatar, Bahamut, Tiamat, they're
And God knows if those are spelling errors too.
yeah. I mean, honestly, it's wild. But that one is literally the only
Trying to
one.
spell weatherus, and you got either
Wet queef.
crease or wet queef.
Yeah,
Wet queef.
and it was like, are you trying to spell like? And I can
What would
see it.
weatherus do then?
But the other thing is that look at this guy. So this is the whole thing, right?
They
He
were the
talks
Earth.
about the setting. Oh, the morality is very black and white. This whole thing is uninspired. And then halfway down, it says, "I shouldn't discourage him." Fucker, pick a lane. Either
That's what
you
I'm
don't
saying.
want this,
This
or
dude wrote the book because he listed all the things.
And
he
also,
made.
what is your morality black and white? So you molest people, but you don't kill kids, or what is the black and white that you're?
that's what I'm saying. He has nothing. That's some of the issues that I'm seeing is that players will, and this is players, DMs, anybody who writes the story, what they'll do is they'll sit there, they'll say, this person did X, Y, and Z, but they'll never sit there and talk about the bullshit that they've done. And it's something that it's so natural to be like, hey, listen, I can pawn off the blame to a few bad characters. And it's like, well, no, you can't. If those characters were doing something right and they were playing their characters how they were supposed to play them and you don't like the way they play, that's on you. That's not on them.
And did you also notice, Aaron, that this person never described any of? No, I'm sorry, the female cleric. I was gonna say they never described any of the female characters, probably because they weren't paying attention to their characters.
He played, yeah, he
Paying
described,
attention to the titties.
but he only describes the female cleric. He doesn't say who's played by. That's the thing. He
Yeah.
doesn't have any characters or their names. None of their classes, races, none of this. None of their players who he mentions. He doesn't have anything to go off of besides the fact that
Because he didn't make them.
he didn't.
Made all the other stuff. I'm telling you, he's the guy with the book.
So all in favor of Tyler's theory, say aye. Aye.
This is my theory, okay? I think this guy is trying to. I think he made up this whole story. I think he made up this whole story, and I think what he's trying to do is virtual signal to other people at the tabletop so that way he can, A, be like, I'm an experienced player. Look at how much I know. And I stood up for the right and the true things when it came to light. I think that this person was like, you know what? I did nothing wrong. I've been on the right this whole time. I know what a good thing looks like. This isn't it. Like trying to basically be like, I am what D&D's about.
And I just got to say on the podcast behalf, I do take offense to the fact that this scenario had more than one god on this podcast. We believe in one god, Crom.
If you have any information on this, please let us know. I don't solve mysteries.
I do want to let you know, Crom is fucking badass.
Crom doesn't care.
Yeah,
That's
he
why he's
really
badass.
is badass.
He really is badass.
He really is badass.
I don't often pray to him. I don't have the tongue for it.
Sean sees our Crom and raises us a 4 wins.
He's looking at us as like by Mithra. This is one of those, he's casting a spell, staring daggers.
Are we just going to keep doing really bad dad jokes?
No, they're actually Conan jokes.
Yeah, we all know that it's best in life.
Yeah, seriously, you're about to turn into a snake.
All in all, here's what I'm thinking, right?
Uh-oh.
First of all, you're sitting there, your initial reaction throughout this campaign is I shouldn't discourage a new DM, but you're
Too
going
late.
to bitch about it online, right? After all said and done, I'm going to bitch about it. This was a really shitty new DM, but I didn't want to discourage him at first. That's automatically, on my opinion. Hey, bro.
I actually have to disagree with you. Did he really shit on him? Like, it kind of goes.
Yeah, I have yet to hear the shitting.
I-
Other than
So-
the pornography thing, I have yet to
He
hear the
does a little
shitting.
bit,
Yeah.
and then it just
So he
goes
talks
away.
So first of all, he says the setting is uninspired. He talks about the morality. We've been through that a few times. He talks about that
The cleric.
not just that, but the story behind it. The big demonic drag is infecting the world. Like he says it like, okay, cool, but that's what most games are. You have something that you're fighting.
So he demanded Thanos.
He demanded something different, is what it was. But he read through it and finds like, you're joining a game. You clearly know what's going on, and whether or not you want to continue is on you.
And multiple games.
And
I
on
think
top of
needs to be
that-
clear, multiple games. You didn't. This was not just one. There's no way in hell you played just once.
Yeah.
You didn't.
You didn't. You played
came
multiple, and on top of that, above all things, there was probably a session 0 that you didn't mention, and that's just because you released all this information. That's if this whole thing is real. To me, this feels like some fake ass game, like some fake ass post that you just came up with in your pastime was like, yeah, man, this was so bad. They created porn of us. Like, it was just, it was tough. My 4 female friends, first of all, bullshit.
Aaron,
You don't have 4 female
I'm
friends.
just really glad that you clarified that, like with the fake game thing, because I was about to be like, Aaron, all of them are fake, and then I was gonna have to actually sit down and have a talk with you about like reality, non-reality. I'm just really glad that you clarified that.
Yeah. Tyler, I'm not so disillusioned that I can't figure out that rolling dice isn't the way of life.
I don't know. Try telling that to the people in Vegas.
Oh, shit. That's
Yeah.
a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So sometimes it's rolling dice isn't the way.
Wrong state.
Yeah. There's tons of other posts. Like, obviously, when you set something like this, you're fishing for comments, you're fishing for votes. You know, you want people to be a part of this. And some people took the bait and wrote down in there. Other people were just like, hey, man, so fucking what? Like, move
I'm
on.
glad that this story exists because it sets the bar really low for
Yeah.
a story.
And honestly, I think this is one of those ones where now I'm going to do a little bit more deep diving into seeing like what the fuck happened, because this is just it's like first class tickets on a train wreck in the Atlantic. It's like it didn't matter. Everything got fucked.
What?
Yeah, you didn't know that there was a train across the Atlantic?
I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, neither did Reddit. So that being the case,
I could have written a better story than that. That was ridiculous.
fucking by leaps and bounds. I mean,
Like, you don't
to
even have
quote
be
to
good
quote
at it.
OP, this story was uninspired. Well,
Correct.
without
That is-
beating
That is very correct. That was very apt. Yes.
without beating a dead horse and then drawing pornography of it, I think we've pretty much come to our conclusion.
Worst simile of the whole episode.
Yeah, seriously.
Worst simile. Without beating a horse. And
Without beating a dead horse
I
and
have to do
then
this again.
pornography of it.
The thoughts of Aaron do not reflect on our podcast.
That's I've been your host, Aaron. With me has been Gintech.
Yay! I kind of really sad we have to leave on that because that's horrifying. And John,
remember to
look at him.
masturbate daily.
He's so happy.
We'll see you next time on Our Corner.